Daddy pulled you out of that kennel.
Oh, good. At least there are two of us. Can you hear me? Joyce is asking if it's Al. What do I tell her? Can you hear me? Just nod if you now.
I can hear you.
Now Joyce says it's Jeff. She knew. How are you?
I can barely hear you.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm working on volume.
I hope it's just you.
Yeah, my volume's on max.
Hello, John. How are you? Good evening, John. How are you?
I'm just fine.
Good.
Dave, how are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
So,
I like your backdrop.
well, we're sequestered to the basement because we had our wood floors redone and we have no furniture up there. So we can move back in tomorrow.
Good. I read your interesting article on rolling and realize you're a frequent visitor to Alaska.
Well, we've only been twice, actually. We went in 2006 and then my daughter moved there. But
Okay.
we're looking at flights in April, so we will continue.
Good luck.
So an interesting fact, John, I was born in North Tarrytown, New York.
Oh, okay.
How far is that from you?
Oh, that's a ways away. We're in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were you're in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yeah, we're about 30 miles from the Maryland line.
Are you near the Delaware Water Gap?
No, that's actually between Pennsylvania and New Jersey, but toward the top of Pennsylvania,
Okay,
near the New York border.
okay.
It's about 2.5 hours from here.
So
New York border is about 3 hours from here.
we're in Michigan, kind of there between Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo. Almost 2.5 hours from 3 hours from Chicago or Detroit.
You're near the Gilmore?
Yes, we're 20 minutes from the Gilmore, and that's where I met you
Okay.
in 2010.
Right, right. Yeah, I'd like to get back there sometime.
Well, please come. I just was there a week ago Tuesday. They had a behind the scenes tour and it was really wonderful.
Oh, that would be neat.
So one of
Yeah.
your board members, or we have Robert on the line, and we also have my friend Brent from the Chicago area.
Hi, Brent. Hi, Brent.
Your
You're
mic's
on
off,
mute.
Brent. So while he's figuring it out, Robert, how are you? Your mic's also off.
And Jeff is muted.
Yes.
Hi, Jeff.
No.
Hi,
There
how are
we go.
you?
Happy
Hi.
January.
So Jeff is our treasurer, but interestingly, I met him, I can't remember which Volvo's at the Gilmore, but he came up from, it was Columbus, Ohio
2006.
area.
2016.
Yes. So we met, we corresponded, and the next thing you knew, he said, oh, by the way, my daughter moved to Southwest Michigan and I'm building a house about 15 minutes away from you. So Jeff and I occasionally go to the Volvo lectures in the winter, which is very nice, and do car-related things. So Robert, can you, is your mic off? Nope, cannot hear you.
Robert Slippy. And M. Brent, Brent Gustafson.
Hear a woman's voice. Is that Joyce Webb?
That's Joyce.
Yeah,
Hi,
talking
Joyce.
to myself. Is anybody listening?
Well, we were trying to.
I
So
was just writing down names so I know who's on.
right, Joyce is our treasurer, and Jim is
No, not treasurer.
I'm sorry, is our secretary. Jeff is our treasurer.
Okay.
And Jim is our former president. for
That's
our
me.
club. So,
Rick,
in,
Former
so
vice president. Your
yeah,
mic's off, Rick.
and Rick is their son. He's also on the line.
There.
So that we don't have to share screens, I emailed you all the latest agenda. We're going to talk about car clubs to begin with. We still have another few minutes. So, Brent, you want to introduce yourself?
I think I know most of you. In Chicago, we've had some great success with a late fall, early fall, late summer event. Dave was at a very successful Galt Airport picnic back in September. It's our 4th annual fall gathering, and it seems to be a success. And hopefully we can hook up with people in Kansas and Missouri and Southern Illinois to do something in the near future, like the midwinter midsummer, like a couple years ago. So that'll be part of our conversation in the next couple months. Maybe to alternate with the Gilmore.
Thank you. So now, Robert, can you turn your microphone off? So I don't know that I have control of changing that. I think you might be on now. Try it.
Is that, Robert, if you click next to the microphone, there's a little arrow. Do you see more than one option under select a microphone at the top of that list? There should be a check mark next to one of them if there's more than one. Try changing that to a different microphone because it might be the wrong one selected. Otherwise, if that doesn't work, Robert, the backup option is to say leave computer audio and then or switch to phone audio.
Hey, AJ.
You can switch to phone audio and then dial in.
Okay. I think we're at the top of the hour and we have quite a few more people that have joined. So if you don't mind, we're going to go right to the agenda. And to keep things on track, we are going to start with the president of VCOA, John Holtzapple. And he's actually put a lot of what he was going to say in the minutes so that gives everybody more of a chance to speak. But I think maybe the most important thing may be the national meet. But John, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, and thanks to Dave for organizing this. I think it's a great idea to have this roundtable and hear some ideas from everyone. The meet we had to cancel, obviously, from last October, And at first, we weren't able to get a date this fall, so we picked one that was available in June. And then we got a little concerned that vaccines weren't going to be coming as quite as quickly as maybe some people had promised. And now we see that the distribution is probably not as efficient as we had hoped. So we thought best to perhaps try to get it back into the fall schedule. And I see Tim McCarty is on with us tonight. He is the chapter leader of the Pennsylvania Capital Chapter, and he and his chapter is the host chapter for this event. So we were able to negotiate the weekend of Labor Day, September 2nd through 5th. That has been pushed out to everybody. It's enrolling. It's on the website. It's also in an e-rolling that went out to everybody. And there is another e-rolling that's being pushed out today or tonight or tomorrow morning that has the booking link to the Wyndham Resort, the same facility that we had engaged last fall is the same, the host venue for the event. So there's a booking link to do online booking in that email that you're getting, and also on the website and the web page. Tim's reworking the schedule of events so that we have some information to push out over the next couple of weeks, leading to a registration form and fee that people can pre-register for that weekend. So things are looking positive, and I think it's a great venue. It's a great historical town, lots to do, lots to see, and it's worth making a long weekend or a whole week out of a trip to the East Coast again. So that's what's happening with the meet. I did mention in the email that I sent back to everybody that the National Board has created a campaign that we're pushing out to the retailers. It's a membership campaign where the retailer will pre-purchase a quantity of membership vouchers, which we send to the retailer. He can distribute them to his customers, new car purchasers, used car purchasers, service customers, and that gives them a 1 year or a 3 year membership to the club. Introducing them to the club, building the ranks, spreading the word. So the first retailer I mentioned bought 500 of them for giving out. He's already come back to us to order the second 500 bulk memberships that he's passing out. So we took this as an omen that this might be fertile territory for us and the chapters that builds the membership in these retailer markets across the country. So the first round of mailings have gone out to another 70 dealers across the states, and we're preparing the second round of another 60 or 70 dealers. So in a few short weeks, we will have canvassed all the retailers in the country, that's 283 dealers, to participate in this program. So we hope that's just a sign of things to come, to build the ranks and to feed more members into the chapters as well. So that's happening. Another item we're working on just recently, we've located another vendor in England to recast and make the grill badges that we have run out of. So we should have perhaps those in stock in a very few weeks. It's basically the round badge that we had before, but it's a little larger in diameter. And to solve the problem of which way to mount the badge and how far apart the bolts should be, this will have one bolt. And as long as your grill has a hole in it, you should be able to mount it. The last thing I wanted to mention, the last 2 years we've run this Irv Gordon Scholarship with underwriting of castor oil for this $5,000 grant that we gave out last 2 years. We were interested in doing that again. However, I've just learned this week that I've lost my Castrol contact through an organization reshuffle, which is the second time that we've had a reshuffle within Castrol. So at this point, I don't know whether we have a financial backer for this to continue the 3rd year, but it's a work in progress. So that's pretty much what's happening on the national scene. And I'll let everybody else kind of chime in. And if you have any questions, either email me, john@vcoa.org, or I'll be with you throughout the evening.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. I put something in the chat just asking, when will all the dealers have this information about the club membership, which I think is great because we're looking at sponsorship and partnering with our dealers. And I think that's a wonderful thing you're doing because it just increases our ability to show value to our members.
We should have, they should all have them by the end of February. And I have spoken with Volvo about this. They were kind of flabbergasted over the idea, and they thought, geez, that's a great idea. And I said, well, yeah, there's actually 4 winners sitting around that table. The customer is a winner, the retailer is a winner, the Volvo brand is a winner, and the club is too. So I don't see any downside to this, and I hope the retailers see it in the same light and asked if it wouldn't be a bad idea if the Volvo would kind of push it out and endorse it as well. Since they don't offer any kind of newsletter or magazine from the corporate level, like some of the other luxury car makers do, maybe we can fill that void and get a piece of the action. So I think over the next couple of weeks, certainly by the end of February, we will have completed those mailings.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Any questions before we go on to the other chapter presidents? And then afterwards, we'll be going to our local chapter. We have several of our board and regulars. So we'll save our chapter business to the end. You're welcome to stay, or if you wish to drop off, that's fine too. So in the minutes that I sent out, I highlighted the people that said that they were going to be attending. So I don't think Arkansas or Connecticut joined. Did anyone from those chapters join that I didn't know of? Okay. Our good friend on the other side of the pond, Brent, you're up next. And by the way, we are recording this. And also my wife, Joyce, is listening over there. So she's saying hello.
Hi. The Midwest chapter has been active for about 4 or 5 years now. After my conversation with John at the South Carolina meet back in 2015, we got the chapter restarted here in Chicago. A lot of us get together almost on a weekly basis during the summer with a different group. It's a local group with classics and coffees. So conversation is very fluid among a handful of us, about 10 or 12. And we've been able to organize the last 4 years a successful late summer, early fall event that was for the first 3 years at the Volo Auto Museum in Volo, Illinois, for a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And since they made some changes there, and with contacts that Dave Irwin and I have with another Volvo member in our area, we moved to the Galt Airport, which is a small local 1 runway airport in the northwest part of the Chicagoland area. And even with COVID, we were very careful. The owner was very cooperative, and this other Volvo member is also a pilot that has a plane there. And it was just a nice afternoon event, and promise for returning there hopefully this coming season. John, just an aside, if you need help with some legs in the ground visiting Volvo dealers in the Chicago area and beyond, I'd be more than willing to visit them, and maybe with some rolling magazines talking about the connection that we have with them. So let me know after the meeting where we are with contacts in Illinois and what I might be able to do to help. We're trying to build a connection between people all the way from Indiana with Dave to Central Illinois, to Central Iowa, and up into Wisconsin with our good friend Jim Perry. We've been able to do some cooperative events the last year plus and publicize our different events to each of our membership groups. Facebook groups have been very helpful for us in particular to promote our events. And we just started a new Facebook relationship with someone who had our Midwest chapter moniker that we piggybacked onto. So we're communicating on a regular basis with people that way. And hopefully we'll continue to have a presence in Chicago and to bring people together. We don't have a lot of newer car members. Most of our members are PVs and 122s and 1800s and some 140s and 240 owners. But obviously many of us have newer cars than that, but that's kind of the heart of our membership right now. So hopefully that will change with new members with dealer incentives and seeing what they want to do moving forward. So I think I mentioned at the outset before we all came online that several of us went to the Lindsborg, Kansas event a couple years ago. And one of our faithful members just across the Wisconsin line is a road warrior, Lorne Haugen, who drives at the drop of a hat to things in Kansas City or, Omaha or St. Louis. So we hope to do some more cooperative things with people in Kansas City and in St. Louis in the near future, COVID and other things permitting. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent. And I appreciate your partnering with our chapter. You've done so much. You've been a great support and a great friend. So we appreciate it.
I think John wants to say something.
Yep.
I'd like to acknowledge and introduce Ryan, the board of director, who's our chapter coordinator, the first line of defense for everyone who's on here in terms of coordinating with the national board. Ryan's got that yellow 850 behind him. I see we're kind of partial to yellow and green tonight, so he joins us with the yellow shade from New England. So Ryan, if you want to say a few words before we get to all the leaders, maybe that would be appropriate, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, first off, I appreciate you bringing this together. I think it's probably long overdue for us to do something like this. And obviously COVID's changed a lot of how we interact and we host events and work together. But certainly opportunity for us to build upon the club and support each other, share best practices. I like, I get emails and inquiries sometimes and people think I have some kind of magic pill or bullet that can fix all this. And I don't. It depends upon local enthusiasm and involvement. But at the core of it is our passion and enthusiasm for the brand and finding ways to connect with each other. And I can tell you social media really does drive a lot of that. Forums have really kind of died off and, you may not think you're, too savvy with social media, but you know, if you haven't, or you got members who are a little hesitant, you know, I would encourage them to give it a shot, because it's probably the easiest way to get people together and make things work. So I appreciate the invitation again, and if I can answer any questions or help out further, please let me know.
Super, thank you so much. All right, so moving right along, we have the Michigan chapter, so I'll address just a few things. I'm not going to go over a lot of this because it's already in the minutes, but so our chapter has been in existence since 2006, and basically every other year we've been doing the Volvos at the Gilmore. Our next one's going to be in 2022. We've been doing it on every even year since then. So our local chapter membership is only $12 a year. We do try to deal with the local dealerships. We are literally right between two of them, so we've tried to include them both and not step on any toes, which has been interesting, but it's been great. We have on occasion for the Volvos at the Gilmore had some of these dealers actually contribute money to help us offset some of our costs. The last 2 years, I believe, so the first 6 were actually shows which were judged, and then we decided it was just, we wanted to just have fun and decided to just have meets. Very few people said we don't like that. Most everybody was cool with that, so we just continued doing that. I have a link to our chapter brochure. We have a great webmaster, and I'm very proud of our club. We do a lot and we cross-pollinate with others. I wish we have a lot of Canadian members, and I really wish we would communicate a little bit more with the Ontario club, but I've been to a couple of their meets and they're wonderful. So hopefully when we're over the pandemic, we'll try to see if we can include them and get we promote their events to our members, and we hope to do the same. So any questions? Okay. We do have a lot of people here, so I'd like to move on so that they can speak. Missouri, Gateway, or New Hampshire, any of you jumping in? New Jersey, Marty. I think I got an email from you yesterday to reconfirm. Are you on?
Hi, I'm Marty Collette. I'm with the New Jersey Garden State chapter, and I'm a relatively new president looking to get my club reactivated. I noticed that it had been fairly dormant for probably about 3 or 4 years, and just thought, I could step in and try and do something. So I took over about 2 years ago or so. We've had a couple of informal meets, and we attended a Swedish day at a local park that another member is part of organizing. So we invited the club to come out. So that was pretty fun. And actually our secretary works at one of the dealerships. So that's a nice connection for us. So we're currently working on trying to put together a show for spring or summer at the dealership. We were going to do one last year, but the dealership was going under some construction and it just was taking a lot longer than they expected. So we weren't able to put it together the year before COVID, I guess. COVID obviously, put a damper on things, but we're ready to get back out there. And speaking to Ryan's point, I found that Instagram has worked really well for drumming up interest in our club and the various meets that we're doing. So we're using Instagram, and I'm not on Facebook, but our secretary is on Facebook, so she posts some stuff on Facebook as well. So between those two social media outlets, we've had some pretty good success. And David, thanks for putting this together and inviting everybody to come and share what they're doing. And I look forward to hearing some great ideas to, get our club rolling again.
Great. Thank you so much. And I love your Northern Lights background. Reminds me of Alaska. Okay. So moving along, do we have Jeffrey from the Central New York chapter?
Oh, well, he's got to get his mic on.
So I'll take that as a no.
David,
Yeah.
his picture is there, but
He's got to turn his mic
He's
on.
on
his mic's
mute.
not on.
Muted.
Got it. Thank you for seeing that.
There you go.
Too many buttons to hit to unmute.
Hey, is that a Frank Lloyd Wright house you're in?
I wish. It's a background of one. I was trying, when I saw all these people with Volvos in the background, I tried to get a picture of a 240 into my background, but it's not something I seem to be able to do while I'm in a call. So hi, I'm Jeff, president of the Central New York chapter. Our big deal is Euromeet, which we have usually have every June. Last year we put it off and had a small one in October within New York State's COVID guidelines. We kept it under 50 people and everybody had a good time and nobody got sick. I think we've been having that show for maybe 10 years, longer than we've actually been officially a chapter, if we are officially a chapter. We're pretty small. Then we have a few events during the year. They're usually lightly attended, a handful of people. Euromeet's getting popular. I think we had 70 to 80 cars, except for this past year. We have it at the beautiful Trumansburg, New York Fairgrounds. And we don't get much interest from the dealers around here. There's a local dealer 10, 12 miles away that they brought some cars years back. And we've talked to some in the larger towns, Syracuse and Rochester, but there hasn't been a lot of interest. Mostly from smaller shops and internet providers. So we run our show as a fundraiser for the current beneficiary is Trumansburg Robotics, the high school robotics team. And some years I don't remember the numbers. This year was a little light. I think we had a couple $100 after expenses. So usually we have it the week after Father's Day. So we're going to start planning and crossing our fingers that we can do it at that time this year. We mostly use Facebook for organizing the show. A few people aren't on Facebook. We send emails out. And our website, we do have Instagram, but don't use it much. One of our board members is on the Volvo Club board and also sells used Volvo parts, and heavily uses Instagram, but we haven't picked up on it, or I haven't picked up on it. I do most of the media. And it's nice to hear about other clubs in the area, greater area, and hope to see many of you in June, September.
Been to the Euromeet twice. It was fun. I did it back at the Children's Garden when it was there.
Yeah. We outgrew that. The town started wanting permits and money, and in the little town of Trumansburg, they don't charge for a permit. And they don't charge much for the fairgrounds, and because we raise money for the charities, so we're trying to build up. I think we had over 120 cars one time in the Children's Garden, and I don't know why we're not getting that these days, but we're trying to build it back up.
Great. Thank you so much. I too enjoy hearing what others are doing. That's basically one of the reasons I thought we should do this. So I like sharing ideas, and hopefully many of us will be able to go to each other's events. So we've made this initial contact. We're hundreds, not thousands of miles away. So maybe we will. Great. Thank you so much. And I'm guessing that's Falling Waters, but I don't know what the background is. It looks great.
I think so. I adopted various Frank Lloyd Wright backgrounds on my various meeting apps on computers, and I don't remember if
Wanted to go there.
this is Falling Water or not.
It's cool. So great. Thank you so much, Jeff. Jeffrey or Jeff?
I go by Jeff. I write it as Jeffrey. Just OCD.
All right. Do we have Howie or David from New York or North Carolina? AJ, are you there? I saw you earlier.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Never used this before, so that's interesting. Oh, how's it going, guys? I'm from the Buckeye chapter. Fairly new to this. I took over from Horace, our last club president, at the end of 2019, right for when COVID started to take control of everything. So fairly interesting seeing how really quickly went to pretty stagnant with the club here in Central Ohio. Tried after a little bit to keep meets going. We are hosted. Oh, give me a second here. We do host our meets at our local Volvo store, so we have that meeting spot, and we were fortunate enough, we open up service garage doors with crosswind to try and keep airflow and everything, keep people out of the elements. But at the same time, a lot of people really, unfortunately, not able to come to meets. So it's interesting hearing ways that everybody's doing everything currently with social media. Facebook is what we currently use. Instagram, I don't know, most of our club members, I don't know if they're on Instagram or not to be able to utilize that completely. But it is, I think it would be an interesting way. We were trying to draw in younger crowd. We have I think currently I'm the youngest person in our club. I'm 27. And we've got people going up into their 70s and 80s. We're just trying to see a more diverse look at the club with different demographics from everyone. But yeah, really interested in hearing what everybody else is doing in these times and how they're continuing it, even though obviously we have to be distant, but at the same time, we want to keep people tuned in.
Thanks. Something that you just mentioned reminds me of something else I put in our notes. We partner with an informal group called the Volvo Enthusiasts of Michigan. They have over 1,000 Facebook followers, including some of our club members. And when we promote, we've offered to pay for their, they're young kids and we just want to get them involved. So we offer to give them free memberships, do different things to just get them involved. So I think that's a great idea. So, and I really thank you for being in touch and being with us tonight. Okay, yeah. And I think next we have from Pennsylvania, the Capital City chapter, Tim McCarty said that he was going to be traveling. I think I saw that he had logged in. Are you there, Tim?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, I made it to my hotel in time to make the meeting. I'm Tim McCarty, Capital City chapter. I want to say maybe 3 years ago, I took over as president of the chapter. Some of the key things that we do, we have 3 key events in the year. One of them being our spring get together, where we get the club together. And anyone else wants to join us. We do a lot at Carlisle, of course, since it's local. That's our other one. And the third one we have is an annual car show, fall car show at the local dealership at Lehman Volvo, who supports us heavily, actually. Now, COVID, of course, has slowed us down like everyone else. One thing we did do this year, though, is we did a virtual car show at the dealership. So we went online live on Facebook with the dealership, with those folks there. We did giveaways. The owner of Lehman put up $500 gift card as one of the giveaways, and we had several other giveaways. So that seemed to go well for us. The remainder of our time has been scheduling and rescheduling the national meetup in Gettysburg this year. I think I've redid that agenda probably 3 or 4 times already, but I think we're getting close, and I hope to see everyone out there. Hope things get straightened out here soon. But that's the 3 main events that we do every year. We don't have any chapter dues, but anyone that wants to come into the chapter can. We do accept donations, which has been very good. For those donations, we offer free gifts from chapter items that we've made. We have T-shirts, etched glasses, key rings, that type sort of thing that we give out that has our logo on there. As far as getting new members in, it's mostly on Facebook. We have an Instagram page which is up and running, but doesn't have a lot of content. Most of it goes through Facebook. That's where we get them. We're generating a flyer to put in at Lehman Volvo, so it's there and they can hand that out to the new buyers or reoccurring buyers as they come in to promote the local chapter. There's 7 of us on the committee right now. We haven't met in person for a while, of course. We do everything via email or talk on the phone to keep us all in contact and getting everything ready for the national meet this year. So that's about where we're at. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. I put something in the chat for you, Tim. Is Carlisle scheduled to be on? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the mid-May?
It's May 14th and 15th. They reduced it down to 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday.
Okay. It's on my bucket list before I die.
Here we go. It's a good time.
All right.
It's a good event.
Yeah.
I think I've been going 18 years. I haven't missed one since I started. So.
Yeah. And last year was a little slim, Ryan, but at least there was people there.
Yeah. We made it work. We were one of the brave ones that we went, but I had to keep the streak going.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your efforts to being here tonight, especially when you're on the road. So
sure.
Nice
My
meeting
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Great. Do we have anybody from Pittsburgh, Vermont, or Virginia? Okay. So I think that concludes our having our national representatives, I should say, and the
Well, you got one more. You got me. This is Bob Sept.
Great, Bob. Thank you.
Blue Ridge.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, it's just kind of, I had to go back into Zoom to find out the DTMF protocol to unmute the phone. And so I've been busy here trying to get this thing to work. But anyway, Blue Ridge chapter, I think I got about 200 people on a mailing list. And our events are usually with the dealers. They're pretty cooperative in this area in the Research Triangle. Actually, even out on the coast. I try to pick locations where people can bring, their wives or girlfriends or whatever, and it culminates with I always have to have a meal function, so it culminates with a nice meal, either a seafood dinner or something else like that, and out by the water. So it works out, and we get quite a few people. Let me get rid of this thing here. Get quite a few people to come, especially if I have to. I'm getting a terrible echo. So we offer the ability to have their car diagnosed. So in other words, people who have a problem with their car, they can bring it into the service center. I always have a couple of 2 or 3 techs there from the dealer that can look at a car. We'll do a diagnosis free, give them recommendation as to repair. I negotiate in advance with the dealer where we're doing a meet for a 20% discount on parts and 20% discount on service. That's either booked that day or purchased there. So that brings in quite a few people because there's a financial incentive. We don't have a fee for membership or dues, anything like that for the members. So I just kind of run it out of my pocket myself because it's simpler that way. I have some assistance with our website. We finally got a good person that can handle the website, so that works out well. But a lot of people now with all this COVID stuff are interested in DIY repair. I get a ton of emails from people from all over, even some from Europe, wanting to know what to do with their car, how to fix their car, and I provide a set of recommendations. So that works out fairly well, and as I say, it brings people in. So we have mostly newer cars. And we do have some of the 1800s and some of the 144s, et cetera, but mostly it's anything up to maybe about 2015. And so that works out fairly well. Looking forward to having another event. I'm thinking of an event down at the beach, maybe in March. That's always a good time to go to the beach in this area. It's nice and warm, and the food is great, and they're pretty flexible out at the beach, with especially in these smaller towns with COVID-related issues. So I'm hoping to do that. That's on my list. Incidentally, I've had the vaccine. So I had the Pfizer vaccine on Sunday, so that works out. So now I feel I can go anywhere with impunity. That's it.
Great, thank you. I was able to figure out how to mute you because I think you're calling in via phone and computer simultaneously.
Really, I didn't. Yes, well, I didn't know that the computer audio wasn't working. So maybe that all of a sudden started functioning. Yeah. So there was a terrible delay. You had to either mute one or the other. I tried killing the audio here, and I did kill it. So all I have is phone audio. All right. Well, good for you. So we may have to do this again. Perhaps not. My recommendation is that maybe we do this, a couple of times a year, maybe 3 times a year. Be worthwhile. Get together, exchange some ideas, that kind of thing.
That would be great. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
I support.
Great, thank you so much. Joyce, you'll have to figure out who said that. So Joyce Webb has a huge task in taking notes tonight because it's much more detailed than what we normally have. So thank you.
But I am not writing down what everybody has said.
Well, I'm recording this. So
yeah, that's what I figured. So it's going to be discussion was done.
One fun thing we did at the Galt Airport, by the way, Dave almost got the prize for the nicest non-Volvo there. His beautiful 1800 ES was not drivable, so he drove something else. But what we gave it to a guy with a Volvo, but that was the vote. It was a Volvo, but it had a V8 in it. So somebody said, this is the greatest non-Volvo here. Anyway, what we did was we had 2 guys, Eldon Hammond and Gordy Carlson, with their PV 544 and 444s. We simply said, tell us about your car. And so I have a video, and Dave took some other videos and pictures too. Just had them for like 45 minutes talk about their cars. And it was just a great experience hearing their wealth of knowledge and seeing their beautifully restored cars. So that might be an idea. You know, Dave mentioned having experts come in and talk about, you know, mechanics and this and that, but having members, and Eldon came from quite a distance, and just a delightful guy if you know him at all. But that's an option for some of your events, to have a focus of someone presenting their car to the other people that might not know a lot about that particular model. And I think it was a very successful part of our event.
Great, thank you so much. So if everybody's good to keep things on track, we have some of our regulars. I'm going to start with our board members. If you want to stay on, you're welcome to do that. So I'm
Can
going to
I
start
say
with.
something before you sign everybody off? If you
I'm not
haven't already read the current issue of Rolling, David has a nice article in there
Mhm.
about the 300 million, the 3 million mile Volvo in Alaska. Impressive.
It just came in the mail today.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, mine just came in the mail today too.
so John Holtzapple, I was actually going to ask you if you know anybody at Volvo that might be interested in finding, it would be interested in putting a plaque up there. Looks like I'm going on a regular basis, at least for the next few years, and I'm going to call the Alaska Department of Transportation to see if that is possible. But I know a few people in Volvo, but I'm sure you have many, many more connections. So
They have an adopt a road program. You might be able to do that.
Mhm.
But you'd have to find a local group to adopt it to do that.
I think that's probably a better bet. I'm not sure how many people at Volvo even remember or were there during the heyday of Irv Gordon's conquest.
okay.
I think it would be probably a stretch to get them excited about doing that, but who knows? But I would try the local municipality and perhaps the state historical marker group. That's who we would contact in Pennsylvania for these road sign markers that marked the event or the location for something that was significant.
Mhm.
So I think I'd start with the Alaska Road State Organization.
That sounds like a great idea. I'll be on it between now and April. So if they want to set up a meeting, I can maybe meet them in person.
Sure.
Great,
Okay.
thanks.
I'll float the idea if I can.
Sounds good. All right, so actually, Jim and Joyce Webb, I was going to introduce you next. So former chapter president and our current secretary. Tell us who you are and what your favorite Volvo is. I know that's going to be difficult, but give it a shot.
My favorite Volvo is the one I'm driving right now, and it's a 2009. And in 4,500 miles, I will have 300,000 miles on it. And it still really looks pretty new, and it drives really nice yet.
It's
So,
an S60?
Yeah, an S60.
Yeah.
I was driving in it when there was the earthquake in Michigan that I never felt. We were on our way to Indiana.
Anyway, yeah. So we've owned Volvo since 1969. So, and our family, our boys, our daughter, our grandchildren, I think just about everybody's had a Volvo.
Great.
It's a disease.
It sounds like an article for Rolling, the family with Volvos, multi-generation Volvo ownership. I think that would be a great spread.
My favorite Volvos, it's difficult to choose just one. I have an 04 S60R with a 6-speed, which is a very nice car. got a lot of miles, but that doesn't matter. I have an 89 Bertoni with only 56,000 miles. Very nice car. And my new favorite is probably the one in my son's picture, which is a 2013 Polestar.
See
But
that blue one?
we don't have one of those yet. But my wife and I drove that up from Florida to Michigan for him. So too many favorites.
Yeah. My favorite is my 1800 ES that my sister and brother-in-law got from their brother in 1974. And I actually rode in the back seat of it in New York City when I was 10 years old. And I said, this is an ugly car. It's a station wagon. We want a station wagon. So, all right. Jeff, you're next.
I'm on. My background with Volvos, my wife and I have had Volvo since 1987, a couple 240s, a couple 940s, V70R in 98. Got a V70 now that Connor Cluck from the Arkansas chapter wants to buy, if I decide to sell it. An XC60. Moved to Michigan in 2018, just about 15 minutes from David's house, and we go to the Gilmore frequently. Also involved in some other car clubs with my Miata and my Datsun Roadster. Background, I worked with AJ from the Buckeye chapter at Buyers Volvo for 13 years, sold Volvos. I'm retired now, so taking things easy.
Cool, thank you so much. So we also have Roger. Roger, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us what your favorite Volvo is. Maybe he stepped away.
He's muted. He's muted.
We don't hear you, Roger.
Okay, is that better?
To gallery view, you can see everybody.
Yep,
If you go,
I was about to unmute you and you unmuted yourself.
There we go. I'm trainable, David. So I've owned two 240s in my life and love the brand and love the model. I currently have an 87 sedan, a 240 sedan that's sleeping the winter away in my garage with a trickle charger on it. I put a good coat of wax on it before I put the cover on and put it in the garage for the winter. But I'm really looking forward to getting that out here, hopefully sooner rather than later. So my wife and I recently retired. I worked in public relations. My wife worked in the dentistry field, and we both retired back in October of 2020. So we're enjoying retirement, and we're enjoying the opportunity to jump in the Volvo and crank open the sunroof here in several months and have at it. So I really enjoy the club. Dave's been great. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I love your enthusiasm, and we'll look for opportunities to keep you active. So I appreciate it.
You keep mentioning that, David. I'm ready to go.
Okay, well, we keep having them. You were moving the last time I heard. So
true.
We have activities. So keep watching our monthly newsletters, and we'll do that.
Will do.
Al Bulgren, are you here from Southwest Michigan, one of our founding members?
I'm here. Hello?
Hello.
Are you there?
We are.
Yep. Okay. I'm not sure if the camera's on, but you don't need that. Yeah, Al Bulgren from St. Joseph, Michigan. And my current favorite car is my 65 544, which I got a couple of years ago. And it's my second 544. And real pleased to have a car that I can tinker with, because the 122 I got, I took as far as I wanted to go with it, and I was just letting it sit around. So now I've got something to play with. So looking forward to getting it out this spring.
I'm counting on you.
I'm here.
All right. And by the way, Joyce and I might go to some ice sculpture event in your neighborhood in a couple of weekends.
Cool.
We'll be in
having it.
touch.
Okay, please do.
And Jeff, you're welcome to follow us. Janet Mendler from Ann Arbor, are you there? Her husband, John, I'm going to unmute you, so I'm going to try to unmute you. I think she is listening, but she and her husband, John, are great supporters. They live in the Ann Arbor area. Janet, are you there? Hello? So they have several Volvos. I know of an 1800, I believe a Bertoni, and they also have a place up in northern Michigan, northwest Michigan near Mark Hirschhorn, who has a Volvo farm. So they are there, but I don't think she is speaking. Anyone else I have missed that would
Dave
like?
Lau's on
David
there.
Lau is there.
Oh, I'm sorry. David Lau from the Ann Arbor area, who is actually closer to Plymouth. He's a good friend and great supporter of our club. And he has a great car. So tell us about it, Dave.
First of all, making sure I'm unmuted. Looks like
You
I
are.
am coming through. Cool. Okay. Sorry for the late arrival. I got on a phone call and it was one of this, oh crap, there's a Volvo meeting tonight. So I apologize for being late, and tell me later if I missed anything, because I don't want to slow you down. The only Volvo I've got is the 73 ES you see behind me. And it's going on 3 years of ownership in 2 or 3 months, something like that. March or April, 3 years ago, I got it off bringatrailer.com. Since most of you've heard the story, it was a couple of fries short of a project. And I'm lucky I brought it home on the trailer because it didn't run very well or anything. But I've spent 2 years pretty hardcore bringing it back, dialing in everything from suspension to the D-jet fuel injection to exhaust. It needed a lot of electrical. Overdrive didn't work. A lot of stuff didn't work on it. But I've got that all dialed in. I went through once I got it running well and put a ridiculous stereo in it of mostly vintage parts from 70s or 80s stuff. Now the car is, you can't call it a daily, but if it's dry, I take it out. If I'm doing a parts run, if I'm picking up the grandkids, they love to ride in it. I'll take it out because it's got the best heater of any car in my garage. So once you get that thing warmed up, it will smoke you out even if it's in the teens. So I've actually been using it a lot. My current project is a complete engine and transmission swap on a 59 Thunderbird that I got just a year ago. So that's been consuming me in the shop, and it's actually going pretty well, but I'm swapping out the 352 for a fully rebuilt 390. And strangely, well, it's not strange at all. The thing is a rare bird in that it had a 3 on the tree manual, column shifted, which is a hideous antique, if rare. So I've taken that out in favor of a Tremec 5-speed. So that's what I'm working on in the shop now.
So will you also tell them that your previous car was a 60 T-Bird that you had for almost 50 years?
Yeah, 53 years on a 60 Bird. Sold that to my son a year ago just to keep it in the family, because you can't sell a car you've had for 53 years. So within the family, we did. And less than 2 weeks, I turned around and found this 59. So that's what I'm working on now. Actually, just for the heck of it, I can put that one up so you can see what I'm talking about.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's okay.
But,
David, interestingly, the first time you called me so enthusiastic about Volvos, I was in the same place in my basement. with
Really?
a marginal cell phone signal. I remember our conversation. So,
well, lucky you were friendly and helpful, because I was, grabbing it at straws to get that thing going. I needed to learn so much about those cars, and I feel I'm now able to answer more questions than I'm asking on the Facebook site. So, so be it.
So Irv Gordon taught me an important lesson. He made me feel very important, and I make all my friends feel very important, but like they're my special friends. So I have many special friends because of this club.
And it's appreciated.
Great.
As so many other people in the club.
Well, thank you for all your support. We've had some fun events, but we'd be here all night if we talked about it. So is there anybody else that wants to say anything before we quickly go
Rick
through our
never got a chance.
Rick?
Here,
Take it away.
So
but remember, you got to keep it short. I know you're long-winded.
One behind me, that's the favorite one right now. But they're all my favorite. That's why I can't get rid of them. I've got like 10. I don't even know. There's a Honda behind it, but ignore that. There's 3 Volvos behind there. So, there's at least there's a ton. There's too many. Had to get rid of a couple because the little man came knocking and said, "You got too many cars that aren't licensed in your driveway." I said, "Okay, we'll get rid of it." He called them junk cars. Who is he? Anyways, I had a question for the group of the not Michigan chapter people, and I'm wondering how many of you have heard of the group out on YouTube, Shifting Lanes? Any of you?
Yeah, I know who they are.
You do? Okay.
Know who they are. I don't follow them necessarily, but I've seen a lot of their videos for sure.
Because I'm thinking about expanding, getting in front of people's eyes that aren't like connected with clubs in their region. Maybe there's some sort of a way we can work out something with them, because I know those guys are pretty enthusiastic about the Volvo brand, with the different things that they do with the cars, and maybe there's a way that we can get them to give us some exposure as a national group, and then say, oh yeah, there's all these local chapters of this national group, and so you can find the one that's near you and somehow kind of get that exposure, because they're getting a lot of views on their videos now, and I think have gotten a lot of eyes even on Volvos and in people's circles that aren't normally looking at Volvos. So it just kind of, I see it a lot around social media, and I know those guys. My dad and I drove the C30 that they have, or we trailered it from Michigan out to New Jersey when I was picking up another car in New York. So that would be something we could potentially do. So
they're actually selling that. The V70R is going up for sale, if not already.
Gregson post that he sold his M3 too because it's not fitting with the COVID times because he's working from home. Yep.
And didn't they recently announce that they're shifting to a wider band of stuff, not just Volvos?
Well, they've always been a wider band of stuff, and then they got stuck on Volvos for a minute. So,
okay.
So they didn't start with Volvos. They kind of got one. Gregson got the V70R, and then Chad got the C30, and then Hanson got an S60R. The S60R was the first one to go.
Right.
C30's still there, and he's also got a 240 project that he's working on. Gregson.
Yep, I know about that. Mm-hmm.
He'll still have that Volvo, but I just feel like they might be a good group to try to see what kind of synergies that, and I know they get a lot of sponsorships from a lot of the groups like FCP and a lot of those groups. I'm not suggesting we necessarily try to sponsor them, but see what they might help us out with, just because we're part of the same, bringing people to view them too. So,
Jeff, where are these folks? Are they on social media? Are they on YouTube?
YouTube.
I think they're based out in New Jersey, actually.
They are in Jersey.
Yep.
They have a YouTube channel called Shifting Lanes, and you can just go to YouTube and type that in, and all their videos should pop up. It's a whole channel. You can watch some videos and see what the Volvo ones are about. But they do car reviews. They do press reviews with all brands and cars. So this is kind of a niche thing they got into about maybe 3 years ago. They got a couple Volvos, and then they found the Volvo social media presence of owners, but never the VCOA side or any of that, just the owner groups that are out there. And so I think there might be some synergy there to get some attention.
Yeah, I'll try to put that on my action list to maybe make a contact with them from the national level.
Find their contacts, just reach out to me and I'll try to get them connected with you. Because I think
Okay.
on Facebook also. So
Yeah, I'd be happy to help with that too, since I'm in Jersey, so I'm local to them if you want me to meet.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Marty.
Yep.
Great. Thank you,
Dave-
everyone. Go ahead,
Dave,
John.
Dave, everybody was kind of talking about their favorite Volvos, and I have to chime in here and say, I've had an 1848 years. Started driving Volvos in 1963, and have probably had about 24 at last count go through my garage over the years. My current favorite one probably is the XC70. My wife drives an S60. But I have to just tell everyone that since I worked for a Volvo dealer in my retirement career, I've had the chance to drive the XC40 R8 P8 several times over the past week. That's the pure electric recharge, 402 horsepower, 486 pound-feet of torque off the line. I suspect it's probably the fastest production Volvo has ever made. It has extremely aggressive acceleration, and it's noiseless, emissionless, shiftless. It's just a constant application of power from those two electric motors, which put out 402 horsepower. It's phenomenal. Now, if we just had a little bit more range with it, it's advertised with a 208 mile range, but that's only going to get better over the years, I'm sure. But if you get a chance, stop down to your Volvo dealer, because every retailer should have one in their inventory for demonstration purposes by this time.
What is the price point on that car, may I ask?
The base price starts at $53,900, and the dealerships have a demo that's fully loaded, and that's tops out at $59,990.
Does that make it in the market of the Mach-E?
Of what? The Tesla E?
So-called Mach-E?
I'm not familiar with that term.
Okay, that's Ford's new full electric that they're marketing under the Mustang brand.
I don't know the specs on that car.
Well, I do. That's why I'm curious how the Volvo compares. I think it's a similar price point to the Mach-E. And that's why I'm curious if you're seeing people cross shop from that.
Yeah, it's really an XC40R design, so it's a completely different body style than the Mach-E would be. So I think it's going to probably appeal to a different demographics.
Okay, is that more of an SUV style?
Yeah, it's the compact SUV, Volvo SUV, XC40.
Okay, well, a Mach-E is also, so it sounds like they might be
okay.
going in the same direction, but be curious to check it out.
Yeah.
The Mustang SUV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hideous as it is, they're just calling it, well, I won't get into the politics, but yeah, it's pretty wild that they're doing that. But
well, that body style is certainly the body style of the age.
Yep. Cool. Well,
So John, I actually saw your car, your 1800 in the Comedians with Cars Getting Coffee. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I try to catch Jerry Seinfeld wherever he is on the air, or Tina Fey, since they both were in it and sat in it and drove it.
So that's the episode with Tina Fey was in.
Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
Was that a white one? I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
if
red.
Red.
All right, well, I'm gonna look that up again if I haven't seen that one, because we've got that in on Netflix queue.
It's season 3. I
Good,
don't know what the episode number is, but just look up Tina Fey and Jerry Seinfeld.
good, thanks.
It's also a fun episode with Kristen Wiig in Amazon. I think she had one.
Yes.
We did see that, yeah.
All right, so we don't keep you too long. I won't tell you that my wife has fallen asleep during this meeting, as has 3 dogs, but we'll move along. If there's no one else, I want to have Jeff give a treasurer's report. We have our lowest treasurer's report in some time. So Jeff, why don't you tell us about that?
Just simply, Comerica bank account, $937.03. And there's $45.22 in PayPal.
Great. Do you also include my renewal?
Yes, that's in there.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I processed that.
Yeah, these are want to be a good president.
These are as of today.
So when I say lowest membership or lowest treasurer's report, we actually have always teetered between, I think, $1,500 and $2,500 because we would have expenses for the Gilmore. We decided to simplify, and our goal was staying around $1,000. I think we're doing a good job. You're an awesome treasurer.
It's an easy job.
Good.
Hey, Dave, I don't want to interrupt. I'm going to jump, but I just want to thank everyone again. And Dave, thanks again for hosting us and putting some name to faces, some familiar names and some old faces. So thanks again, and look forward to doing it again. So thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
See ya.
Appreciate you being here.
Yep.
All right. So thank you for keeping our membership spreadsheet up to date. I really appreciate it. So we mentioned Carlisle, and it's been confirmed that that's happening. Initially, I had said the June 3rd to 6th for the national meet. A lot of our members actually go to the national meet, so we may consider making it to this one. We've only been to the Gilmore and to the one in at Elkhart Lake, but we'd like to go to more.
Where is it this year?
It's at Gettysburg.
It's in Gettysburg. Yes, Gettysburg.
Which is on my bucket list, so hoping to go. So our spring dust off 13, our club has done an annual spring dust off every year. We always try to find something automotive related, and I love speaking to David Lau because he comes up with he's helped with some of the more recent ones, but we're thinking of going back to the motor muster at Greenfield Village if they are actually going to do that. So that is a thought. Initially, if your car was accepted, it was free and you would get 4 passes to the Gilmore and the Henry Ford Museum for the entire weekend. We arranged to have Irv Gordon, I think there twice. And he was so nice, he gave us our free tickets. So I have lots of friends on the east side of the state. And so thankfully, it was a great time. And that is tentatively scheduled for Saturday, June 19th. Our friend Mark Hirschhorn also is involved in the Waterford Hills Vintage Auto Races in Pontiac. So that is tentatively scheduled for July 23rd through 25th. And our friend who Brent has mentioned happened to be there with the 544. Brent, who is that? I think your mic is off. Let me unmute you. It's not Gordy. This is a test.
Eldon Hammond.
Alden Hammond. So he and Eleanor always show up at all these events. He came to one of our first Gilmores. But interestingly, we made a new friend who's huge into British cars. He has 29 oddball vintage cars, but he has a 1960 Amazon that is the same color as Eldon's, and they became fast friends, so that was good. Down the road, Volvo's at the Gilmore 9, July 16th, 2022. And for the past 10 months, I think we've been doing our bi-monthly meetings like this virtually via Zoom. We're hoping to start doing it at a restaurant again when that happens. I just saw a hand raise, and it was from Janet Mendler. Are you able to turn your mic on or type in the chat? Okay, the last thing I have is for our March meeting, we want to do another presentation. So we're open to suggestions, and since we have a lot of other people from other chapters, if you have anybody you would like to send me a name of and you'd like to do this, our club has a Zoom account, which is not limited to time or attendees. So if you have an idea, anyone? Well, the fact that we got through this in an hour and 13 minutes amazes me, because we had a lot to talk about, but I think we captured a lot.
David, I couldn't grab quickly enough when and where the national meet was this year.
So it's Labor Day. I believe I heard it was the 3rd through the 6th or the 3rd through the 5th of September.
Second, yeah. Second through the 5th, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There's up on the national webpage. If you go there, there's a link for hotel reservations, and we'll be putting some agenda items up there once we get the details ironed out.
Okay.
An email just went out today too.
All right. And sounds like some local people might be attending, thinking about attending.
Yes, as far as we know, yes, yes.
Because it's always fun to caravan if that's the case, because if I don't have the right size wrench, you might.
So we'll meet at your place and then go east, young man.
Deal.
Okay.
It's happened before.
But nobody will have a 10 millimeter.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Brent, you meet us at Dave's and we'll go from there.
Sounds like a plan.
Anything else? All right.
Carry a
Nothing
10
else?
millimeter in my pocket.
Good deal. If there's nothing else, you aren't kidding.
Thank you, David.
So if nothing else, I motion that we adjourn. And I especially want to thank all of our guests and John for helping to make this happen.
Second that.
Thank you.
So nice talking to you all. We look forward to seeing you. I'm glad we've made some new friends.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Dave, for inviting us.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being had.